There's something wrong with its face. Something growing on it. I'm getting ahead of myself. I work at a family-friendly theme park in a quiet, secluded tourist town. You'd think that was an oxymoron, but there's something about the mountains, trees, and crystal clear lakes that really calms people down. Our theme park is kind of cheesy, but really quite charming when you've spent some time here. Our founder believed that nature was one of the world's greatest gifts, and he had the park built around hills, trees, etc., instead of just plowing them down. It really feels like you're deep in the woods, even if the snack shop is just a 2-minute walk from any given location. You've got to try the grilled cheese. To that end, one of the main draws of the park is a safari ride. People of all ages love it. It's a slow train cart ride through the forest with all manner of creatures and people along the path. We have almost everything, from storybook creatures to dinosaurs to mannequins that look like they stumbled out of an old western. My job here is to maintain these props. Here is an example of one of my favorite sections to work on. It's a good job, honestly, and definitely fun. I work in a small team and I can spend all day restoring the paint on a gorilla or straightening out the clothes on the sheriff. You get over your fear of spiders quicker than you'd think, and my day-to-day is pretty peaceful. That's why I was a little intrigued when I found my coworker's notes pinned to our break room board this past Wednesday. Something wrong with Cow B. Black growth. Can't paint over it. Jane, take a look later. Signed, Rick. Looks like some kind of slime mold. Nothing I've ever seen before. Thanks, Rick. Testing a few things on it. Signed, Jane. I can't scrape it off, and it's just getting stuck on my tools. Don't touch it. It gave me a rash and doesn't wash off without alcohol-based soap. Nasty stuff. Signed, Jane. Smells good, though. Signed, Jane. Jane called out sick yesterday. By that afternoon, there were a few more notes on the board. You're right. It does smell good. Almost like bubblegum? Signed, Joe. You're delusional, Joe. It clearly smells like pineapple. Signed, Mark. Guys, could you kindly not smell the mold? Signed, Rhonda. I figured I had to go check myself. This doesn't look right. Even though I really wanted to smell it and weigh in, I heeded my better judgment and left it alone. Jane called it a slime mold, but I've scrubbed my fair share of slime mold, and this wasn't it. It looked slimy for sure, but this wasn't like any mold I've ever seen. The rest of the day came and went. I looked at the board before going home, and it looked like someone started to clean the notes up. Just a few were left, but they were clearly cut up or otherwise vandalized in some way. Now they just said, Cow B, smells good. You're right, it does smell good, almost like bubblegum. It clearly smells like pineapple. Smell the mold. Around each note, I saw the faintest black smudge. When I came into work the next day, I was immediately pulled into a team meeting. Curiously, a handful of seats sat empty. Before I could wonder whether we were still waiting for folks to roll in, Rhonda started to speak. In my 12 years of managing this park, I have never had more than 2 employees, 3 tops, call out on the same day. Today we are 5 people short, 1 week out from opening for the summer crowd. If a new video game came out today or if some television series ended last night, I can deal with that tomorrow. But if it's that damn mold that I asked everyone not to smell, we're going to have some problems. Whatever it is, it's serious and nobody should be near it. Putting aside the health risks of mold, I need to spend today finding reasons to convince upper management not to fire Jane. I honestly don't give a crap if you think the mold smells like bubblegum or popcorn or beef jerky. If you go near it, you're putting the entire park at risk. Lastly, whoever messed with the notes on the board, I didn't forget about you, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Not only did you put more people at risk, but even just cleaning the board this morning gave me a skin reaction. If anyone has any information on that, please see me in my office. Rhonda cleared her throat. We have a lot of work to do today. Please stay safe out there. The room emptied without as much as a single word being said. The pressure was palpable, and I knew I just wanted to get out and breathe some air. So I packed my maintenance tools and headed out to the safari trail. Then, of course, it started raining. After a little while of exploring, I realized the park didn't feel the same. It all sort of hit me at once that my coworkers were getting really sick, and the only person that knew how to handle this thing was probably going to get fired. I had heard whispers during the meeting that the mold was spreading, and it was really weird that so many people didn't show up at all. Paranoia started to grip me. Mold always grows when given a chance. Was the mold I had seen the only one? What if others had found more but just got too sick to say? I guess the only way to know whether it was a shadow or black slime mold was to get close. I kept a little bit of distance, but I had to check. This is what I saw. More and more I started to see slimy black patches on our statues that glistened in sunlight. It wasn't safe out there. I was already past the halfway point of the trail, and I decided to head back. After I went for a short while, I came across Joe. He was lying on the grass, in a sun patch a ways off from the trail. Black goo was oozing out from his eyes and ears, and a puddle of the stuff had formed under his mouth. Patches of black liquid pooled on his arms and neck and shined in the sunlight. I watched him, studying in disgust and horror, but it took me a while to put my finger on the part that had disturbed me the most. His body was softly rising and falling with the rhythm of his breathing, almost like he was floating. I called out to him, but he didn't react at all. I started walking immediately, going to find the others. Mark, Liz, Gregory. I came across them all, off the beaten path, in the sunlight and breathing, but unresponsive. I didn't know what to do, so I just left them there. I stopped keeping track of everyone and went to go find Rhonda. I made it back to her office and felt a cold slime on the underside of the doorknob. Looking back on it, I probably should have done something about that, but I was too stunned by what I saw. Rhonda was sitting at her desk, lying face down, in a puddle of black slime, oozing out from every part of her face. A message was written on the wall behind her, smeared by greasy hands. It said, "Anyone can find a seed, and I will turn it into a forest." For what it was worth, they were wrong. It smells like cotton candy.